You think you know Rome, gladiators, emperors, togas, grand marble temples, but if you actually walked through Rome on a regular Tuesday in 100 AD, almost nothing would look the way you imagine. The smell alone would stop you cold. From the moment they woke up to the moment they slept was so different from what we picture. So let's fix that. Rome had roughly 1 million people crammed into a city designed for far fewer. Most of them, not the senators, not the generals you've heard of, most of them woke up in a building called an insula. Imagine a 6-story apartment block built from cheap concrete and wood. No running water above the ground floor, no heating, and no private bathroom. You slept in a single room with your entire family. The walls were thin, the building creaked, and if it caught fire, which they did constantly, you probably didn't make it out. You woke up before sunrise, not by choice, because Rome was loud. Julius Caesar actually banned carts and wagons from the city during daylight hours because the traffic was so bad. So every night, hundreds of carts unloaded grain, marble, livestock, the sound of wheels on stone echoing through the streets all night. The Roman writer Juvenal complained that you couldn't sleep in Rome. He wasn't exaggerating. By sunrise, the city was already moving. Romans did almost everything before noon. The afternoon heat made activity miserable, so the productive hours were early. A working Roman, be it a baker, a blacksmith, a merchant, was already at their shop by dawn. Most shops were tiny, single-room spaces that opened directly onto the street, with a stone counter and a shutter that slid horizontally into place. You ate standing up at one of these counters. Rome had almost no home kitchens. The fire risk in wooden apartment buildings was too high, so the city was filled with thermopolia, hot food counters that served bread, olives, lentils, and cheap wine, the Roman version of fast food. In fact, archaeologists have found over 80 of them preserved in Pompeii alone. For the wealthy, mornings meant something called the salutatio. Every powerful Roman had clients, people who depended on him for favors, legal help, money, connections. Every morning, these clients would meet with him before sunrise, sometimes hundreds of them, waiting in line just to greet him for a few seconds and remind him they existed. In return, he might give them a small daily food allowance called a sportula. This wasn't optional. Your entire career could depend on being in that line. Miss too many mornings, and you were forgotten. By mid-morning, the Forum was packed. The Roman Forum wasn't just a monument. It was the center of everything. Law courts, political speeches, religious ceremonies, business deals, gossip. Roman lawyers argued cases out loud in front of crowds. It was entertainment as much as justice. The better the lawyer's performance, the bigger the crowd. Cicero was genuinely famous the way a celebrity is famous today, because Romans came to watch him speak the way you'd watch a show. Around noon, everything slowed down. Shops half closed. The courts went quiet. Romans went home or to the baths, and the baths weren't a luxury. Most people had no water at home, so the public baths, the thermae, were where you cleaned yourself, but also where you exercised, made deals, and spent hours just talking. The grand imperial baths could hold thousands at once. They had hot rooms, cold plunge pools, massage rooms, libraries, gardens. Entry cost almost nothing. This was the great equalizer of Rome. A senator and a freed slave could be in the same room, sweating in the same heat. And here's the thing almost no one tells you. Romans were obsessed with eating, but not the way we think. The main meal, the cena, happened in the late afternoon, not at night. Wealthy Romans didn't sit at a table. They reclined on couches around a low table, propped on their left elbow, eating with their right hand. A dinner party could last 4 to 6 hours. The food came in courses. The conversation was considered as important as the food itself. A host who couldn't provide good conversation was embarrassing. A guest who didn't contribute was not invited back. For most Romans, though, dinner was bread, olive oil. They also used a fish sauce called garum, which they put on almost everything. Fruits, vegetables, whatever they could afford from the market. Rome imported grain from Egypt on an industrial scale, and the state gave it away for free to citizens. Free bread. Because if the food supply stopped, the city would riot. It had happened before. The emperors knew it. After dinner, Romans went to bed when it got dark. There was no artificial light beyond oil lamps and candles, and both were expensive. So you slept when the sun went down, woke before it rose, and built your entire life around the light. But here's the thing that should genuinely stop you. This city, loud, filthy, crowded, chaotic, produced some of the most enduring ideas in human history. Roman law is the foundation of nearly every legal system in the Western world today. Their engineering, roads, aqueducts, concrete, lasted 2,000 years. Their writers, their philosophers, their poets, Virgil, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, are still read, still quoted, still relevant. They didn't have electricity. They didn't have antibiotics. Average life expectancy was low, around 25 to 35 years, largely because a huge number of children never made it to adulthood. Disease moved through the city fast. Fire moved faster. And yet, they built the Pantheon. They wrote meditations. They constructed 400,000 kilometers of roads that you can still walk on.